All right, Algebra 1, we're going to combine 1-5 and 1-6, adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing real numbers. So here's the rule when you're adding. If you have the same sign, like a positive number plus a positive number, or a negative number plus a negative number, then you add the two numbers. And you keep the sign that you started with. Positive plus a positive is what you've been doing all your life. Negative plus a negative is the same idea, just with negative numbers. You start out in the hole and you go deeper in the hole, add it together, keep the negative sign. What if you have different signs? Then you subtract the two numbers, or you take the difference between the two numbers. Suppose you have a negative plus a positive, or a positive plus a negative. Once you subtract, then you use the sign of what looks like the bigger number. Like, let's show an example on the next page when I talk about the subtract rule, what we do when we're actually subtracting. So if you got this page down, I'm moving on. If not, pause the video, complete your notes in 3, 2, 1, turn the page. What's the subtract rule? Well, here's the rule. There is no subtracting. You actually are adding the opposite. If it's positive, it's negative. If it's negative, it's positive. That's what opposite means. For example, if I have 3 minus 10, it's really 3 plus adding a negative 10, the opposite of 10. So 3 plus a negative 10 falls right back on the add rule, which says I've got different signs, so I subtract or take the difference between the two numbers, and I get 7, and I keep the sign of what looks like the bigger number. So what if I've got 3 minus a negative 10? Well, no subtracting, so I'm really adding the opposite number. So 3 minus a negative 10 is really 3 plus 10, which is 13. What if I start with a negative, and I have negative minus 10? Well, that's really negative 3 plus a negative 10. Adding the two together because they have the same sign and keeping the sign that I have, negative 13. So you see the subtract rule is that you really don't have a subtract rule. You just change it all to adding. And you're adding positives and negatives. Now that we're done with that, moving on, turning the page in 3, 2, 1, and we're going to do the multiply rule. That's from section 1-6. This one is actually easier. There's not so much changing and wondering what you're keeping with the signs. Here's the whole deal. Same sign, multiply, always positive. Negative times a negative, positive. If you have different signs, negative times a positive or positive times a negative, you still multiply. You don't even change the action that you're doing. The only thing that's different is different signs, negative. Same sign, positive. Piece of cake, right? And guess what? The divide rule is the same rule as the multiply rule. Same sign, positive, different signs, negative. And there you have it. And we'll work out examples in class. See you there.